So here we are having a look at the engine at Bancroft. This is a cross compound 500 indicated horsepower cross compound. That's the bearing engine, which would move the engine into starting position and also move it for maintenance. So here we are having a look at the crank. So this basically transfers the forward and backward motion of the connecting rod piston into rotary motion. So that's the connecting rod with small end, crosshead and crosshead slide at the bottom. Now we're having a look at the eccentrics. So these open and shut the cordless valves. So you've got inlet and exhaust with the eccentric rods coming off them, with the aquarium in the middle, oiling the main bearing. Here's the governor. This is a Loom's type governor. Originally it had a whitehead governor fitted. Then you've got the Loom's speed regulator. This basically evened out any speed adjustments on the engine when it was running under load. Originally it was running with about 1,000 to 1,100 Lancashire looms. So you've got crosshead slide, small end of the connecting rod, piston rod to the left, and the valve rockers. So basically that connects the eccentric rods to the valve rods which operate the cordless valve gear. So you've got main steam pipe coming into the high pressure cylinder, small pipes bearing engine looking back towards the boiler. So now they run off a Cornish, but originally it was a Lancashire boiler, which is still in position, just not used anymore. This is the metallic packing. So metallic packing goes around the piston rod, forms a steam tight seal. High pressure cylinder with cordless valve caps. You've got two pressure relief valves and a globe lubricator in the middle of them. Tail rod slide on the high pressure side. This basically holds away the piston on the engine, evens out anywhere in the cylinder. So a general view of the engine with the low pressure on the left and high pressure on the right. High pressure cylinder, main steam valve, that's open to let steam into the high pressure cylinder, which starts the engine off. So high pressure cylinder, so inlet valves on the top and exhaust valves on the bottom, dash pots at a diagonal either side, that dampens the valves when they're shutting, with the catch block and catch rods in the middle as well. So that's sorted by the governor. You can see the rods connected to the base of the governor. So another view of the governor, and in a minute another view of the Loom's speed regulator, which I will add a clip of running. So eccentric rods and eccentric. So here's the gauge board. Top gauge is the vacuum gauge. bottom right is the pressure gauge from the boiler, and next to it is the compound steam gauge. So, maker's plate, engine was built by William Roberts of Nelson. So, looking at the low pressure side, so you've got, again, valve rockers for the eccentric rods and valve rods. Eccentrics in the distance on the main crankshaft on the low pressure side. With flywheel, with ropes. So, low pressure, small end, piston and crosshead slide. Here's a low pressure cylinder. So again, inlet valves on the top, exhaust valves on the bottom, and dash pots in between the vertical with the rods coming out. So they dampen the valve shutting and stop any hammering of the valves. So low pressure exhaust valves on the bottom. So on a cylinder like this, on the right is the front, on the left is the back of the cylinder. So catch block and plates on the low pressure and high pressure. They trip the valves, which you'll be able to see on a later clip. So now we're going over towards the low pressure tail rod slide with the air pump rocker in green. So again, as a high pressure, this supports the weight of the piston and evens out any wear. So you can see the connection there. That's looking down towards the air pumps, which you'll be able to see in a later clip. Not an area normally seen by the public. So exhaust pipe coming out of the cylinder there, from the low pressure down to the condenser, and the low pressure side looking at connecting rod, crank, flywheel with second motion shaft at the top. So that transferred the power off to the right into the weaving shed and through line shafting. I will include a video from Queen Street Mill which shows that to good effect. Another William Roberts engine, but a tandem rather than a cross compound. So you can see the ropes going up. So here's a closer look at the cylinder valve gear. So steam enters at the front left inlet port and air exits through the back right exhaust port and enters the low pressure cylinder through the compounded pipe. Steam then enters through the back inlet and goes out through the front exhaust. It then goes through the exhaust pipe on the back of the cylinder that we saw in the previous clip and enters the condenser. On this it's a jet condenser. That condenses the steam entering and creates a vacuum. We'll explain that a bit more in a later clip. So you can see on this the valve actuator, dashpot rod and dashpot. I'll put in some photos of ones from Lee Spinners so you can have a close look at the cordless valve. So again, on the high pressure you got the valve actuator with the catch rod and the catch block in the centre. So we'll see this working on a further clip. So you've got the exhaust at the bottom. So here's a look at the air pump. So steam enters the condenser at the rear from the exhaust from the low pressure, which is the pipe coming down at the rear. It's condensed in the condenser via an injection of cold water. That creates a vacuum which helps pull the piston as well as the steam pushing it. The water is then drawn out the condenser via the coffin at the bottom via the foot valve. So that creates a vacuum tight seal. The water you can see is then pushed out through the overflow that would originally run back to the loop. And I'll show you.
And we've got